Today I'm going to keep working on my newest Primaris Marine, and I'm going to show you how I go about doing silvers or steel colors. It's super simple. I'm using 4 colors. You can do it in 3. I'm going to be using Lead Belcher, Runefang Steel, and then I'm going to be using Layman Medium and Abaddon Black. But instead of using these, you can also use Nuln Oil. I just don't have any on me right now. It's easier, but this works the exact same way. And I'll show you how we'll do that. So, the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to take our iron breaker and we're going to go over any part of the model that needs to be silver. And don't forget to shake your paints, by the way. So we're going to hit his belt right here because I paint that silver. This step is really where the majority of your silver color is going to even come from. So you want to make sure that you get everything that you're going to want to get silver. And if you're painting the backpack on these Marines, it's a really little detail, but you see right behind here, getting the backs of that is something I never used to do. But now I kind of feel like I have to. It's kind of annoying and you're probably not going to see it, but sometimes I'll pick up my models and I'll be looking at them and I'll see that that part wasn't painted, and it just makes me kind of feel sad. You want to make sure that you don't use this brush for any other colors before you've cleaned it really well, because the little metallic flakes will get into the other paints and it will just make them not look right and you'll have to paint over it again. So if you want to save some time, make sure you clean your brush really well. Gun is going to use the most paint, and I'm going to keep part of the gun black, the grip part right here, just to make it look kind of like rubberized, to make it look more like a modern weapon. When I do my base colors, I always go through, paint it once, let it dry, and then I'll double check that I got everywhere that I wanted to paint. Because later when you're doing your layers, if you miss a spot, it's harder to go back and get your base paint and then come back to go paint it. Okay, so for this next part, you can use Nuln Oil, but I'm going to show you the long, hard way to do it. And that's, you take something that you can mix paint on, get some Layman Medium. I'm using a little bit bigger of a brush. It's kind of like a small shade brush. It's not a GW one, but it acts about the same way. And it's clean, and we're going to get some of the Layman Medium, put it down on our wet palette, and then you get your paint that you're going to use. This case it's black, and we're going to mix it together, and we want this to be kind of an ink, and then we're going to kind of draw it out so that there's a little bit on the brush, and we're going to go over the spots like the chest piece. And what this will end up doing is it'll leave the highest parts silver, but it'll go into all the cracks and it'll make those darker. It'll give it a lot of accent. Okay, so now that the shade has dried, and you want to let it dry all the way, because if you don't, and you paint over it, you're going to end up with a metallic shade running in all your cracks, and it'll look weird. But once it's dry, I'm going to just go over all the highest parts again with some iron breaker, and that's just gonna bring that color back up, because like I said, I added a little bit too much pigment when I made that custom Nuln Oil. This step you can pretty much skip this if you're using Nuln Oil, because it's not as dark. Okay, so for the last step, we are using Runefang steel, and we're just going to do some little highlights on the silver, and this is really just going to make it pop. This paint is pretty thin, and especially with these GW metallics, you really want to shake them and get them mixed up. But what we're going to do is, I'm pretending that this guy has a light above his head, which he does in real life, but the way that I'm painting him, I want it to look that way too. So I'm taking the Runefang steel and I'm pulling it up towards the highest spots on the model, on all these parts I'm painting silver. And what that'll do is it'll make it look like there's light coming from the top and making this guy brighter. So we're going to hit all the edges that would be brightened up by a light above. So everything from the top. The end result, it's this nice silver color. It's super easy. 3 paints or 4 if you're doing the weird mixing like I was. But it's very easy to copy. It's super easy to do on a lot of models. There's a couple things to watch out for though. Make sure you mix your paints a lot with these silver paints, especially the GW ones. They separate for some reason. And when you're using these brushes, when you're done, clean them out really good so you don't get any metallic parts in your other paint. And that's about it. It's pretty easy to get a good silver color like this. And I think anyone can do this. And if you do happen to do this, you should take a picture and leave it in the comments, because I love to see your guys' models. I think it's great. I think it's really cool to see the community getting out there and doing more. So yeah, if you liked the video, leave a like and subscribe if you want to see more. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down below. And visit us again at Templar TV for some more painting tips. Don't forget to praise the Emperor.